and in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the law
The ceremony was witnessed by members of the first family, including the wives of President Buhari and Osinbajo, Aisha and Dolapo, diplomats, top government officials, and politicians. Here in Ogun State, Prince Adedapo Abiodun has been sworn in as the 5th Executive Governor of Ogun State, following his victory in the March 2019 gubernatorial election. The unprecedented inauguration also coincided with the 59th birthday of Prince Dapo Abiodun. Shemilore Amore has the details of the swearing-in ceremony held at MKO Abiola International Stadium, Kuto, Abeokuta.
That was the swearing-in of the 5th Executive Governor of Ogun State, Prince Adedapo Abiodun, administered by the State Chief Judge, Honorable Justice Mosumola Adikpeolu. As May 29 heralded a new administration, the newly sworn-in governor in his inaugural address reaffirms his government's commitment in providing qualitative governance for the citizenry.
Our extension of hands of fellowship is not just to achieve political correctness, but a genuine commitment to inclusiveness. The interests of our state override any narrow individual interest.
Trade, industry and investment also form part of the focus highlighted.
The Transition Interface Committee that liaised with the preceding government for the maturity and patience with which you approach the assignment.
In his mission agenda, Governor Dapo Abiodun reiterates his government's genuineness to develop and enhance value chain for abundant natural oil and mineral resources for economic and social development. He thanked the good people of Ogun State for giving him the opportunity to serve, promising that he will deliver more democratic dividends to the citizens. Shemilore Amore, OGTV News.
Meanwhile, seasoned political administrators and eminent personalities have enjoined the new governor of Ogun State to focus more on programs and policies that will have positive impact on the people of the state. Our man, Kolawole Osho, was at the MKO Abiola International Stadium, Kuto Abeokuta, venue of the event. His report is presented in this package.
Technocrats, politicians, former governors of Ogun State, both civilians and military, members of the state judiciary, led by the Chief Judge, Honorable Justice Mosumola Adikpeolu, artisans, marketmen and women, traditional rulers and labor leaders, as well as members of civil societies, converged on MKO Abiola International Stadium, Abeokuta, to witness another historic event as Prince Adedapo Oluseun Abiodun was sworn in as the 5th civilian governor of Ogun State. After taking both the oath of office and allegiance, this automatically signaled the dawn of a new era, as the administration is expected to hit the ground running in its 4-year sojourn. Former Governor of Ogun State, Aremo Olusegun Oshoba, Speaker Ogun State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Suraj Shola Adekunbi, and Prince Rotimi Pasheda, who contested the governorship seat in the March 2019 elections, described the occasion as historic.
I want to thank God that at 80, I am still alive to see this day. A transition to a third governor after I left office. To me,
mighty praise to God and great joy. He will ensure that his infrastructural development are well spread to the entire state.
I want to enjoy them to on the gains of the immediate past administration, and I want to believe that they have a lot, at least, to do.
I truly believe that despite the fierce contest amongst all of us that contested for the gubernatorial election, I strongly believe that God has chosen the right one for us.
Traditional rulers present at the event have this royal advice for the new governor.
My royal advice is that he should try as much as possible to galvanize all the divisions in the state to his own betterment and for the betterment of Ogun State in general.
I'm biased because the governor-elect is my son, but I just will say that they need to be patient with him. From discussions, from interactions, I'm sure that good things are coming to Ogun State.
As a royal father, is that with God on his side, he will never fail. And he already said it himself too, that but for God, he will not be where he is today. And therefore, with the fear of God in him, he will do better.
Eminent personalities also speak on their expectations from the new government.
To me, from my own perception of who the governor is the state government, they will be able to meet up with the expectation of the workers in the state.
We are hoping that this government will be a labor-friendly one, in which welfare matter of workers will be given premium attention.
A new chapter has been opened in the political life of Ogun State, and it requires collective effort of all and sundry.
Still on the inauguration of Governor Dapo Abiodun, some music lovers at the MKO Abiola Stadium were treated in a different way, with different musicians playing to lift up the spirit of the people. Idowu Fabajo was at the inauguration party and now reports.
The inauguration ceremony of Prince Dapo Abiodun as the governor of Ogun State featured different programs. The inauguration party, organized mainly for music lovers, was well attended. The popular Fuji musician Alhaji Wasiu Alabi Pasuma also entertained the audience at the event. Beyond the inauguration ceremony, the people of Ogun State look forward to reaping the dividends of democracy. Idowu Fabajo, OG TV News.
And still ahead, OGTV Extra's journey to 20 years of uninterrupted democratic governance in Nigeria. There's another report will come your way after the break. You join us again.
Someone once referred to me as a common market woman because I'm a petty trader. They don't know that every day I wake up, I have plans for expansion and growth. They believe that even in 5 years, I'll still be in the market doing the same thing.
Sometimes people don't see you for what you're really worth.
Welcome back. The Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has assured Lagosians that he is up to date on their achievements.
Record books, because generations of Lagosians will mark today as a watershed in the continued march of Lagos State towards its glorious destiny of socio-economic development as one of the greatest cities in the world.
Head of Service of the State, Hakeem Muri Okunola, earlier assured of a collective cooperation of all Lagosians towards taking Lagos to the next level. The swearing-in ceremony, despite the heavy downpour, attracted several dignitaries from within and outside the state. Nigeria's political players have been commended for their ability to sustain the nation's nascent democracy under 20 years of civilian rule. This was the view of those who spoke with OGTV News while appraising the 2 decades of uninterrupted democratic governance in Nigeria. Peter Falomo reports.
The democratic journey in Nigeria began on May 29, 1999 with an historic handover of power to Chief Olusegun Obasanjo. Record that military rulership had been the order of governance in the country for not less than 33 years.
Military rule is unacceptable rule. The world has grown increasingly to become a democratic world in which everybody's right is respected.
When you have a political system that has enjoyed democracy for 2 good decades, I think is a great achievement.
The struggle that brought about democracy in Nigeria did not come with ease after several years of military dictatorship. The death of General Sani Abacha in 1998 gave hope to the struggle of democracy after retired General Abdulsalam Abubakar succeeded him. Registered political parties that took part in the 1999 elections. 20 years down the lane, Nigerians appraise the uninterrupted democratic rule in the country.
Democracy, 20 years is still a very small year. But what we are doing as a result of democracy or as a result of our system of government needs to really be focused on developing institutions for now.
Obviously, you would not have said that 2 decades is too small to appraise on interruption of democracy or uninterrupted democracy. No. I will take an exception to that, because for a democracy to even last for 2 years, it's worth celebrating.
Beyond the process of democratic development in Nigeria, respondents share the expectations of government of the people in years ahead.
Yeah, well, the first thing is that we must put in place systems and technology that will improve our elections.
Ogun State is a good example. You can see the difference, in terms of achievement, infrastructure development, and how the people are carried along, in government programs.
They also speak on electronic voting.
I don't really see electronic voting as a really go ahead for now.
Computer systems, garbage in, garbage out, is still subject to influence of manipulators. So this is my fear.
Respondents submitted that corruption is a major phenomenon that has over the years been a threat to the growth of democracy and enjoined political players to nip it in the bud if good governance through democracy will be sustained. Peter Falomo, OGTV News.
In a move to inculcate the right etiquette and protocol in the newly elevated 75 monarchs in Ogun State, the Industrial Training Fund, Abeokuta Area Office, has organized a one-day workshop for the traditional rulers. The workshop was held at the Alakes Palace, Abeokuta. Details are in this package.
Traditionally, the monarchs hold sway in different domains, and it is expected that much is required from them in terms of governance in the respective areas. To make governance percolate to every nook and cranny, Ogun State government recently elevated some traditional heads to coronate others as Ogun State continues to grow in leaps and bounds. In order to complement this move,
tell your neighbor it is no longer about you. When you were violent, you can go away with some things, but you cannot go away with some things now, because you are accountable to some people.
Aside this, the training is intended to equip the traditional rulers with rules, regulations, procedures, norms and customs of behavior for the new office. Alake and paramount ruler of Egbeland, Oba Adedotun Aremu Gbadebo, who also doubles as the chairman of Ogun State Traditional Council, says the training is apt in view of present-day demands and relationship between monarchs and their subjects.
Traditional council yìí kan ní omi tó so ṣe tẹ̀ ṣe tẹ́lẹ̀ ẹ máa ṣe bí ọba ṣe láti ṣe gbogbo gbà ẹ láti máa wá bí ẹ ti máa save life ẹ ti máa save life mi ní pé èèyàn dọba kò ní kí ó fẹ̀mí ṣòfò ó ti o gbogbo gbà pátá ẹ láti dá wọn lóhùn láti rí pé ẹ̀mí kankan ò bọ́ torí pé kò sí tọ́tì àwọn ìta kankan nú ẹ̀.
Similar training had been organized in the past for traditional rulers prior to the appointment of recent 75 monarchs.
Studying hard leads to excellent results, and the fact that most students strive very hard to achieve success cannot be ignored. Respondents in their separate views attributed students' bad results to diverse reasons. In this special report, Morenikeji Shobaluju focuses on the reason behind students getting lower marks or failure in exams. I report.
Can anything take the position of this pen at this position? Why? Because it is matter of 5 spaces.
It is the aim of every student to equate his or her examination to getting higher marks, and when the result is on the contrary, such a student or pupil, as the case may be, might think he or she cannot get equal reward for his or her struggle.
As a student, you need to go further, maybe to the library or to a reading corner to take your own textbooks and read. It is one thing they teach you in the class, it's another thing to go beyond what they must have taught you.
The blame should not be apportioned to a single person, but it should be apportioned to both the parents and the teacher. In fact, not only that, the government.
There are factors responsible for students' success in examination, and failure to achieve success can be attributed to certain reasons, which cannot be swept under the carpet.
You know, some of our children these days, they are in the class physically, but their minds are far away. Even when they get home, instead of sitting down to revise the day's work, you see them engaging in phone, playing games, you see them engaging in television, watching movies, and this cannot help them.
The parents don't have time for children nowadays. They will leave early and come back late in the evening. Then teachers should allow.
That result is not limited to errors on the part of teachers, rather a clarion call on all concerned to go back to the drawing board.
A teacher is part and parcel of the society. Don't forget, the students are also products of the society. A student that is going to school must have books. For teachers, in some cases they don't always give enough attention to what they teach or to the students that they are teaching.
Until when the parents, the teachers and the government have these children in mind and put them at the core or the center of learning, it is then that they can perform better.
So many topics to cover, and which cannot be covered within the limited time of exam. So they have to pre-read every day in order to prepare themselves, so that whenever examination comes, they'll be able to fix it.
Test strategies carry huge importance for getting higher marks in examination. Hence, a student should learn how to study productively to achieve success. Morenikeji Shobaluju, OGTV News.
The Nigerian army has repelled an attack by Boko Haram jihadists on the northeast city of Maiduguri. The attack, the latest in a wave of assaults by Islamist gunmen, was repulsed hours before President Muhammadu Buhari was sworn into office for a second term in power. soldiers intercepted a huge number of fighters from Boko Haram on the outskirts of Maiduguri on Tuesday night, beginning a night-long battle that continued until close to dawn on Wednesday. It was not clear if there were any casualties. Activities marking the 63rd anniversary of Nigerian Navy, which started on Monday, continued this Wednesday with ships under its fleet playing host to visitors across the country. Report says that the visitors were taken round operational areas in the ship. On Monday, 27th May, ships under the Western Naval Command and other commands around the country were open to all categories of visitors. At the Naval Dockyard, Victoria Island, these ships in the NNS Centenary and NNS Unity are part of ships that have been open to the public for the past 3 days. It's for them to get a sense of how naval performances actually operate on these ships while at sea, and all of this is being done as part of the 63rd anniversary of the Nigerian Navy. Abayomi and his family are the first visitors to the Naval Dockyard and speaks on his experience.
Assuming I'm young, I will have loved to join the Navy, but I think by the virtue of Navy regulation, it's late now. We have been they show us all the compartments, all the areas, their department, how they work, how they navigate, and some other their daily activities.
Coming up next is the business news segment with Olayinka Shodunke. Please join us again.
Welcome to Business News. The National Bureau of Statistics said the nominal gross domestic product (GDP) for the 22 states in 2017 stood at 63.8 trillion naira, or 56% of Nigeria's nominal GDP in that year. The NBC disclosed this in a state nominal gross domestic product 2013 to 2017 phase 2. The report provides estimates for the second phase of the state's GDP compilation exercise, covering an additional 10 states: Anambra, Bauchi, Ebonyi, Edo, Ekiti, Gombe, Jigawa, Kogi, Niger, Ondo, and the Federal Capital Territory. The Bureau said by sector, the 22 states accounted for 57%, 77%, 48% of agricultural industry services GDP at the national level. The nation's value-added tax, VAT, generated in the first quarter of 2019 fell by 3.0% to 289 billion naira from 298 billion in the fourth quarter of 2018. The National Bureau of Statistics disclosed this in its VAT report for the first quarter posted on its website. According to the Bureau, the 289 billion naira generated in the first quarter of 2019 comprises 137.06 billion naira generated as non-import VAT locally, 98.97 billion naira generated as non-import VAT for foreign, and 5.01 billion naira was generated as Nigeria's Customs Service import VAT. Equities trading on the Nigerian Stock Exchange opens the week on a negative turn as investors' appetite winds, especially on MTN Nigeria shares. On Monday, the local Bourse All-Share Index and market capitalization closed at 30.194.71 and 13.302 trillion naira respectively, having declined by 2.21% as the bears took control of the market breadth with 14 gainers against 19 losers. Consequently, the year-to-date loss of local stock further worsened to 3.92% from 9.75%, as shares price such as MTN Nigeria and Dangote dipped by 7.14% and 4% respectively. even as Ohando and Fort Oy wound by 2.27% and 1.26% respectively. And that's it on business news. The rest of the news continues shortly.
Welcome back. For global events in the last 24 hours, we'll bring you the world today in a moment. A front-runner in the race to become Britain's next Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, will be summoned to court over allegations that he lied to the public during the Brexit referendum campaign. And the effects of tornadoes in Ohio is creating more ripples as an 81-year-old elderly man died when a parked car was smashed into his house. Mojisola Sholaja has a compilation of the major global events today.
Boris Johnson, the front-runner in the race to become Britain's next Prime Minister, will be summoned to court over allegations lied to the public during the Brexit referendum campaign. The former Foreign Secretary is facing a private prosecution following a crowdfunding campaign led by 26-year-old Marcus Ball. The defendant repeatedly lied and misled the British public as to the cost of EU membership, expressly stating, endorsing or inferring that the cost of EU membership was £350 million per week, the application against Johnson said. Johnson will be required to attend the Westminster Magistrates Court for a preliminary hearing and then the Crown Court for trial. Israel's political elite is racing against time to form a new government through high-stakes back-channel negotiations before a midnight deadline. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's right-wing coalition has to secure the support of Avigdor Lieberman's nationalist Yisrael Beitenu's faction on Wednesday or face an unprecedented second election of the year. Netanyahu's Likud and its right-wing and religious allies won a total of 60 seats in April 9 elections and the 120-seat parliament. But Israelis have ravaged the U.S. Midwest in the last 2 weeks during an unusual onslaught of extreme weather. The average for the entire month of May is around 280. This makes it the fourth worst tornado season on record. Several tornadoes hit Kansas on Tuesday evening, causing damage to houses, uprooting trees and affecting power lines, according to the National Weather Service. About 20 tornadoes, including a large rain-wrapped twister near Kansas City, were reported to the National Weather Service by storm chasers and spotters.
That was the world today. Next, to bring you some sports report with Moses Ojeoni.
Welcome to the sports segment of the news, and let's start from the world of tennis. Former champion Roger Federer and 11th-time winner Rafael Nadal moved into the third round of the French Open at Roland Garros without dropping a set. Federer, the 2008 champion, needed only 26 minutes to see off Germany's Oscar Otte, while defending champion Nadal is to a 6-1, 6-2, 6-4 win over Germany's Yannick Mehdi. In the women's version, fourth seed Kiki Bertens retired from a French Open second-round match against Victoria Kuzmova with illness. Earlier, world number 2 Karina Pliskova breezed past Kristina Likova 6-2, 6-2. And now to boxing. Britain's Anthony Joshua wants a man-to-man meeting with Deontay Wilder to set up an undisputed world heavyweight title fight if he beats Andy Ruiz Jr. WBA, IBF and WBO champion Joshua 29 takes on Ruiz in New York on Saturday, as later WBC champion Wilder announced a rematch with Cuba's Liz Ortiz, delaying any contest with Joshua for now. "I'm going to reach out to Wilder to see if I can have a sit-down in person," Joshua said. Wilder has won 41 of his 42 fights, other being a controversial draw with Britain's Tyson Fury in December. He beat Otis via a 10th round knockout in March 2018. And now to football stories. Flying Eagles head coach Paul Aigbogun has assured that his players have learned from the disappointing defeats to United States of America and will go all out for a win when they take on Ukraine in their last Group D game at the 2019 FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Poland on Thursday. The Flying Eagles will face Ukrainians, who currently top the group on 6 points after beating USA and Qatar in their first 2 games of the competition. The Thursday decisive match will hold at the Besko Biala Stadium by 7:30 p.m. Nigerian time. Aigbogun's charges started the competition on a winning note, thrashing Qatar 4-0, but were brought down to earth by USA in the second game by 2-0. Let's also inform you that the Super Falcons of Nigeria will face Slovakia in a pre-tournament friendly on Sunday, June 2, ahead of the 8th FIFA Women's World Cup Finals starting next week Friday in France. It will be the second time both teams are meeting this year. Super Falcons and Slovakia clashed on 1st March 2019 at the Cyprus Women's Cup. The 9-time African champions won the 7-goal thriller against the Slovakians with goals from midfielder Rita Chikwelu, defender Osinachi Ohali, and forward Ina Imo. Sunday's game comes up 5 days after the Falcons traveled to Unginjord in a confrontation ahead of the Europa League final between Arsenal and Chelsea. Azerbaijan Health Ministry spokesman Parviz Abebekirov said one British fan was hospitalized with an open wound on his head and bruising as a result of an altercation between fans of the two football teams. Abubekirov added that a Russian man was hurt in an unconnected incident in a bar and treated at the scene. Relatively few English fans have traveled to Azerbaijan for Wednesday's final because of the high travel costs, and neither Arsenal nor Chelsea sold out their allocations of 6,000 tickets apiece. And before I go, let me remind you, or inform you rather, that Arsenal and Chelsea are playing a goalless draw in Azerbaijan in the final of the Europa League. And that's it on Sport News. Over to you, Kenny.
Thank you, Moses. It's now time to bring you the weather forecast for Thursday.